From the School of Communications and Media Technologies at Academy of Art University, San Francisco, this is CommCareers. Welcome to our panel and our students in the audience. We begin with Elizabeth Sweeney at Airbnb in San Francisco. She graduated from AAU in 2016, and she's had a few other positions before her current one, a video editor at Airbnb. Thanks for coming, Liz. Nice to see you again, of course. How'd you get it?
How I got my position?
Yeah.
Well, after graduating, I decided to really dig deep and beef up my LinkedIn profile, and I was lucky enough to be contacted by a tech recruiter, and from there, I got the position.
Is the stuff you do for marketing, or is it all internal just to the employees?
So within Airbnb, we have two separate departments. I'm a part of the on-air department, which primarily focuses on internal content. And I have worked with the marketing department and edited some pieces for them, but not every day.
Okay. Try and remember when you were back in school, what comm classes do you think kind of got you ready for this job that you ended up in?
I'd say, just my initial editing course really ignited the passion in me, and as well as motion graphics with Anton. I absolutely loved that class. I took the advanced level and I just went with it. And as well as Academy Idol. On my third day at Airbnb, we were hosting a live show, and it was like Academy Idol times 10. So just knowing that type of atmosphere and what to do in that high stress situation really paid off.
Speaking of high-stress situation, when you got your final interview, what happened during it that most surprised you? Because there's always a surprise at a job interview.
Yeah.
They ask you a crazy question, or did you feel like you weren't quite ready for a question?
Overall, I feel like with Airbnb, a huge thing for them is can you fit in with the culture, especially within a production team. You really rely on people, and you want to be able to not only trust that they can execute, but also can they hang with the team. Mm-hmm. And during my interview, prior to that, I had to teach myself Premiere because I primarily was editing with Final Cut. And during my last final interview, the senior producer sat down with me, and she essentially was like, here's Premiere, and I want you to pull something off right now. She gave me a task to edit, and I was shaking, of course, because I had just taught myself Premiere maybe a week ago. So I'd say that was the most nerve-wracking thing.
And this is really instructive. Why not to say something on your resume that's not true? Because a lot of companies now say, let's go find out if you can do what you say you can do, as you just mentioned. I'm going to play a little clip of something you made at your previous position, We Heart It. Tell me about that company. What is that?
Yeah, so We Heart It is a visual platform. It's similar to Pinterest, but a much younger demographic, and they've primarily focused on just visual inspiration. And when I had joined there, they were really trying to launch their YouTube channel. So I was there from the early stages of it, developing the brand, establishing a social media calendar, and all of that.
Okay. Do you think that's some of those videos that you made for them helped get you the job at Airbnb?
Absolutely. The content I made there really, when I was at We Heart It, I was working with an amazing producer, so just learning that insight and the content I produced there really did, I think, set me apart.
All right, let's take a look at the video that got her a job.
My first memory of photography would probably be going on vacations with my family. We would go to Grand Canyon. My parents bought me a camera for Christmas, and I kind of ran around with that. I'm a portrait and lifestyle photographer. I shoot a lot of fashion. I shoot lifestyle. I shoot music, events, and culture, because it's what I enjoy the most, because I love working with people. I like working one-on-one and creating and collaborating, especially with the people I've met over the years with different shoots that I've been on. I like to carry my Sony around on me, do little adventures. If it's a hike, If it's a new area of LA I've never been to, if it's traveling, I always have my camera on me. So what I like to have is like my personal identity as far as photography. I really love color and I really love composition. You can really create your own style from it. I love photography because of how you can make someone feel with just a photograph, especially if it's a photograph of them and they're like, wow, that's so cool, I love it. Like, it makes me feel happy and it makes me keep doing another shoot after another shoot. I guess ultimately, I love working with big brands. I love collaborating with them. And I really do hope that I'll get to travel more with it, go to these destinations and make these pieces or advertisements or whatever it is. Just kind of working with bigger brands, traveling, getting to see the world, experiencing culture, and being able to put that into my own photographs.
Well done. Thank you, Elizabeth. You can find her on LinkedIn, Elizabeth Sweeney, if you'd like to connect with her. Our next awesome guest is Matt Seska. Graduated from AAU in 2016. He got his BA. Matt played basketball for our U2, by the way, and he was also awarded the Best Undergraduate Producer at last year's spring show. He's a technical producer at a company called Pixel Core, and he did stuff like technical directing, camera operator, graphics, and more. Thanks for coming. Nice to see you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's exciting to be back.
How'd you get your job?
I actually got my job. I was hired by a former Academy of Art University employee. He was actually my teacher, and I think that's one of the more special things about Academy of Art is that your teachers aren't just teachers, but they're industry professionals, and that I think is really special.
It's a good reason to be nice to your teacher. He might hire you later.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have to travel a lot for your job?
Yeah, actually before this past weekend, I had been on the road for 26 days straight. Because we do a lot of live streaming work, we fly everywhere. For example, I was just in Chicago, and then I was in LA before Chicago. But I've been across country maybe 6 times this year already, so a lot of miles.
And depending on the shoot or the event, you might do any number of different types of jobs depending on what's going on then.
Yeah, we're a smaller production company, so there's only maybe 20 of us total. So on a lot of these gigs, we hire freelance, which gives me the opportunity to kind of step in different roles. Sometimes we're able to get a technical director, so I don't have to do that role, so maybe I'm on graphics that one. And then another one, we have a graphics guy, so I get to step in TD. So I get to experience a lot of different positions and a lot of learning.
Okay. How confident were you at the interview?
I was fairly confident. It was pretty easy because he was my teacher. I didn't really get interviewed per se. He actually called me one night at 10 o'clock and basically said, hey, I need you to work this job for me at 6 a.m. Can you do it? And then I told him yes, and then from then on, they hired me to do, that was as a contractor, like as a freelance, so I did a couple more contract jobs after that, and then they finally brought me on full time.
There's something called interview math. Think about it this way. For any given job, there's about 100 applicants. Of that, 50% of those applicants are not qualified. They shouldn't have even applied. Out of those 50, the hiring manager will generally say, give me 5 that you like, 10% of that. If you are walked in, you had a relationship with the hiring manager. If someone walks in your resume, gives you a reference, you have almost a 100% chance of getting an interview. That is the way it used to be. That's the way it still is. The math just works. If you have someone on the inside, someone you make a friend with, or someone you used to work with or go to school with, you have raised your chances of getting employed greatly.
And to add to what you just said there, he had actually called 2 other people before he had called me. So another thing I would say is answer your phone. Whoever calls, just answer it. I see a lot of people let their phone go to voicemail all the time. Just answer it, because you never know who's calling or why they're calling.
If opportunity is calling, you probably don't have their name in your contacts, so you
Exactly.
should pick it up. Devon London. She graduated from AAU in the spring of 2013 and is now at Wix.com, where she's been there for the past 2.5 years. At Wix, she manages a team of people at their offices here in San Francisco. What does Wix do, Devon?
Well, so if you have a business or anything that you like to do and you want to build a website for it, go to Wix.com, you create an account, and you can build a website.
Devon and I have a relationship already because I have built a website with Wix for a little project I'm working on.
Yes.
And she's going to help me with technical support. How do you help people?
Well, me personally, I manage a team of support agents. So if you were building a website and you had, if you wanted to know how to add an image to your site, or if you wanted to know how, or if there was actually an issue, you would give a call to support, and you would speak to one of our support agents. I manage that team, or a team of support agents, and I do recruitment. So if you were to get an interview, I would probably be interviewing you, and things like that. Work with a lot of data, and all that.
Did you ever think you'd be there now?
Not at all. It was actually a fluke. My sister told me.
How did it happen?
Yeah, my sister told me she was going to apply for it, and then she was like, "Oh, this is just a call center." And she's like, "But you can try it out because you don't, you're looking for a job, blah, blah, blah." And I applied, fell in love with the people. It's all about they're really into the culture. Fell in love with the people, moved up, and having a good time so far.
Give a shout out to your favorite comm instructor. You remember you had some good experiences along the way. How good was he or she for you?
Well, I mean, to be able to be taught by people who, like you were saying, is a working professional is, you can't find that everywhere. So to be able to, work with those types of people is a great thing. And anywhere from, John to Joe to, everybody, even coaches. I play basketball here as well, so all of my coaches as well. Everybody helped out, and it was really a good, opportunity to be able to work for the academy or go to school for the academy.
Mehak Kular graduated from AAU just this spring. When she was here, she had the opportunity to work on a bunch of student projects, as many of you are doing now, including work she did on the outside as a production assistant. Currently, she's working with Verizon on their application called Go90. Hi, thanks for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us what Go90 is.
So Verizon has this application called Go90. It's like Netflix for Verizon, you can say. So they have a lot of videos that come in every day, a ton of them. And they have live events going on the weekends and during the week as well. So I monitor those live events on the weekends, and during the week when I go into the office, I'm dealing with the video's metadata. So every video that's coming in, you have to check if it's correct, if, just doing technical stuff, checking the title and, checking the file size. And just going through all of the shows and episodes, making sure that, they're under the right channel. And it seems like easy, but it's a lot of work.
Why do you think they hired you, besides your obvious awesomeness?
I think my confidence. They really liked it. They said that, you're so passionate about it and you're so confident that, you will land up somewhere. So they really liked it. And my resume too, they said that it kind of stood out. So, yeah.
Your reel's good. Let's watch it.
When even just being in the change room and at practices and helping the guys and starting 11, get ready for the game and stuff.
Over 700 animation students from 30 schools have just 24 hours to conceive, design, and build an unbelievable 30-second animation.
We're all about helping high school kids growing up here in San Francisco connect with the fantastic career opportunities that we have in this city.
With your manager, and the maximum is 8 hours per day.
Okay.
Oh my God, look at that.
You and I spent a lot of time together in my office as graduation was approaching, and you were getting a little nervous.
Yes.
You got your job. Good for you. Now that you've done it, do you think you should have started thinking about it or looking sooner? The answer could be no, but I'm just curious. Now in hindsight.
That there are a lot of companies that, you know, if you're applying, so many of them are just looking to hire you the next day. So because I remember when I was in school last semester, I think I started applying like 2 months ago, and so the companies just asked me like, okay, are you, like, can you come in this Monday? And I couldn't because I was still in school. So I would say that just keep trying, because a lot of the companies are willing to wait as well because they don't have that opening right then. And the paperwork, it took me like a month to just, I mean, they hired me, but all the paperwork and the background check and everything, so it took me a month to actually go in there.
I mentioned this in class this afternoon. So it's module 13, and you're panicked, and you're telling your instructor, what can I do for extra credit? And your instructor says, it's a little late for that. I can't tell you how many students come into my office panicked. Semester's almost over, graduation's getting close. They're like, I don't know what to do. And I kind of tell them, it's a little late for that, but it's never too late to get started on it. If you're an undergrad in your first or second year, you might go, well, why do I care about this? The reason why you care is because, like a LinkedIn profile, Liz said that she wanted to kind of make it, what'd you say, beefier, make it better. It's like putting coins in a bank. You save it up, so when you need it, you're ready. Because when an employer calls, or they offer you a job or an internship, and you don't have anything to show them, you weren't ready. That's a problem. Here's an example of something that you can do to beef up your resume. Take a look at this. This is your RU women's basketball team. This Friday, they need a crew of 6 or 8 people to shoot the game. Champagne would like you to email her if you'd like to help out, and she'd be very grateful. But you're thinking, well, I don't know anything about basketball. I don't like sports, you know, whatever. The point is that the best thing about this school is that we give you virtually unlimited opportunities to do stuff. And every time you do something, you can beef up your LinkedIn, you can beef up your resume. It's not just about homework or assignments. You've actually shot a live event, live streamed it with a crew. And by the way, you don't need any experience to do this. They want you to be able to learn. They'll help you figure it out. And that's the great thing about this school and this department, is that these kind of things come up all the time. You are missing out if you don't take advantage of it every once in a while, because you want to get better at your art. This is a perfect place to make mistakes, is by doing these sort of events, and we do them all the time. So just FYI, when you see these things, don't take them for granted. They're things that are going to prove that you've worked with a camera, maybe you've worked with a switcher or something like that. Matt, can I get
This was actually one of the reasons why they hired me too. because of this.
There you go.
Yeah.
So email Champagne if you're free on Friday to help out. This is one piece of experience that you just won't always get everywhere else. You're going to need a LinkedIn profile. All four of you, are you keeping up your profiles? Nod your head yes, that you are. That's mine. The paragraph underneath the picture and the headline is really important. What was the first question, Mehek, that they asked you when you sat down for an interview? When you went in and sat down, you shook hands, what was one of the first things they asked you?
Usually they ask you, what do you do?
What do you do?
Or what do you want to do?
Devin, do you remember?
Yeah, it was more of what do you want to do, because the recruitment at Wix is, do I want to work with you or not? So getting to know you, and then looking at your history and going through all of that.
All right, Elizabeth.
Yeah, definitely something along those lines.
Yeah, this is a tried and true question that starts, if you meet someone at a party, you'll get this question too. It's some version of tell me about yourself. And if you don't have that answer ready, the job interview is over in the first 60 seconds. You're already out. If you have something ready, you're still in. I develop media content. I teach its impact on audiences and strategize new ways to deploy and then analyze it. That's me in one sentence. That's what I do here. That's the stuff I teach here. Then more details. I teach undergrads now. I used to teach grad school, but I'm now teaching undergrads in this department. And some of the things that I think I'm pretty good at, social media marketing and journalism and branded content, stuff like that. If someone wants to see you, LinkedIn is a great place to be seen. Recruiters scrape this. You got your initial job contact because of your LinkedIn profile, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, did you have difficulty putting it together? The summary is hard because, if I say, Elizabeth, tell me all about you, and you'll go, well, this and that. But if I was on stage and you walked away and they said, tell me about Liz, I could tell them all sorts of great stuff. Oh, she's awesome. She was a great student and blah, blah, blah. But was it hard formulating the words to describe yourself, or was it easy for you?
It was extremely hard. It's a fine line. You don't want to sound braggy, but you want to seem like you know your stuff, and I feel like for me, I was really fortunate to get really awesome internships throughout school, so that also spoke a lot about my experience too. And the number one thing I think is huge is having endorsements from people you've worked with in the past, because that's what's telling a recruiter that you're not just BSing what you're saying. You actually can do what you say you do.
Yeah. Just so you know, it took me about 20 tries to get this one right. So trying to describe yourself without being boastful and saying, I'm a solution to a problem you have, it's tough. But this thing works like this. This works everywhere. When someone says, hey, what's up? I say, what do you do? I say, well, I'm a teacher and I do this and that. They usually say, well, what do you teach? And then I have all kinds of stuff, and now we're having a conversation. This is a good thing to have in the hiring manager's office as well. In your opinion, you four, as you thought about getting a job, the best internet resources, was it LinkedIn? Was it Glassdoor? Was it internships.com, by the way, which is a great place to look for internships? The Muse, Indeed, or through school?
Well,
any of those stand out?
For me, it was more Indeed when I was looking for a job, and then also Glassdoor to kind of understand, what's really happening in the company. For me,
the good thing about Glassdoor is that it not only posts the job, but there are reviews about the company's culture and the CEO and the bosses, sometimes from people who are still working there. It's a great place to kind of find out the inside about a company. Liz, you were going to say, or Matt?
Indeed.
You use Indeed?
Yeah, Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, all those.
Okay. We have resources for you. We have something called the AAU Job Board. It has kind of a long URL. and you'd never remember it, but if you Google it, it'll come up. 284 results that match video editor. It's pretty good. Here's a good thing about the job board, is that most of the jobs that are posted in there are friends of ours. We've worked with them at Spring Show. An instructor has a contact there. These aren't just random jobs that are posted, so that's good to know. These are friends of ours, and if you tell them that you're here, it might be an advantage for you. But here's, tell me about your network, people that you've connected with and made friends with online. In my eyes, this is the most reliable networking tool ever. Here it comes. You guys. They know what you've done. You're coming up. They've already done it. They know the building. They can see the classrooms. You go, how's Peter Chaplin? And they go, oh, yeah. So you're going to have a really powerful conversation with them because they know what you've done. People who have been where you are now. And it's important that you work on that to develop kind of a network. You help them and they help you as well. We'd also like you to join this group when you get a chance. This is something that we have 300 people plus in there. Academy of Art University Comp Careers. I post jobs that are kind of interesting that I find. I post articles about looking for a job or an internship. Did you feel, Mehak, that the internship that you did you were at an ad agency, a digital agency before you joined Verizon. How much more prepared were you, do you think, because of it?
When they saw it, they actually, they thought that, okay, even though I was just doing an internship for credit, but they didn't know. They didn't even ask me or anything. They just kind of assumed that, okay, maybe she was working with this company, and maybe she is, she knows how to make professional videos and edit and everything. So that actually helped me a lot because there was something to put on my resume for my experience. So, it helped me a lot.
Forget if I already mentioned it, the other three of you, did you do an internship while you were a student?
Yeah, I did. I interned because my focus was radio. So I initially wanted to go into the radio industry. So I interned at 99.7 while I was working or while I was in school.
And you killed it at Urban Nights Radio, too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Maddie said so. We're almost done. You get a chance to say hello to them before we get out of here. But starting with Elizabeth, what advice can you drop a current student who's kind of thinking about, well, I should probably start doing this pretty soon, whether it be the in-school experience or just getting ready to get out? What advice can you give?
Something I wish somebody would have told me earlier would be, don't just do your assignments to do your assignments. Really, at the end of this that's all you have to show, and just because you've graduated, you're not going to be given a job. And really, go above and beyond in these assignments that you're getting, because that's what you're going to show when you're applying to these positions. And yeah, I'd say that.
Matt?
I would say two things. The first, listen to your instructors. Like I said earlier, they're all industry professionals, most of them at a really high level too. So they have great advice. But also, you have all these resources around you, and I would say take advantage of them. Especially because, like you were saying with the basketball, that provides opportunities. So when you do get on to other jobs, you're comfortable already in those live situations, or whatever situation you go to, you're comfortable in those situations, so you're able to not really think about, oh, am I messing up? You already know what you're doing. But then also, I don't have the opportunity. I can't go and call Champagne and ask her to open the studio for me and go shoot whatever I want in there. I have to do what I'm told, and it's a nice opportunity to be able to get out creatively what you want, and I would say take advantage of that while you're here.
I would say work on your resume, because that's the first thing they're going to see. And just work on your reel. Just make it look good, because no one's ever going to watch each and every video on your website. They're just going to look at the reel, and then they'll kind of know that if you're good enough or not.
Yeah, mine was going to be, again, take advantage of your opportunities and your resources that you have here, whether it's through your instructors or your classmates. And also, you know, obviously we're going to school for a specific reason, but don't be afraid to apply for the job that you might not think would be for you, because that's exactly what I did and ended up falling in love with it. So.
3 to 5 years experience needed. You'll see almost all job postings say that. It's a lie. Don't believe it. You know why they're doing that? To scare you away. Remember, 100 people apply for a job, 50 aren't qualified, or 50 think they're qualified, but they're real stinks. You do have experience because you're going to be going to school for 3 to 5 years, right? So you've had experience working in teams, especially if you do things like basketball shoots. You've had to meet deadlines. You've had to do all the things that an employer is looking for, those kind of character qualifications. School counts. Your degree is not your education. Your education are the things that you did while you were here. And the more stuff you do, the better your odds are. I'm going to send them out into the crowd to meet you in just a second, but I want to leave you with one of my favorite 20 seconds of video. I believe this like I believe anything in the whole world. This is Steve Jobs.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
Yeah. You know, I've been showing this thing for years. Jobs said this sometime back in the 90s. But he's on top of it. If you love something, do it. I was talking to a friend of mine who was thinking about, she has an awesome Instagram idea. And I said, you should do it. There's nobody else doing it. She says, I don't know. People will always tell you you can't. Don't ask anybody's advice. Just power through and believe that you're on to something. You can make adjustments as you go along later. And if you need any help, I'm your career service manager. We'll sit with you. We can FaceTime. We can do it in my office. Anything you need, you can reach me at these places, including WeChat. If a lot of international students use WeChat, you can find me there as well. What makes me really happy is watching you do well. It's a favorite part of my job. Students come into my office and they say, I got it, I got it. I said, yes, you did. And that's the best part of it all. If you're just getting started in the process and don't even know what a LinkedIn profile is, that's all right. I've done a couple. I'll help you out with that. Thanks to our panel, Elizabeth Sweeney from Airbnb, Matt Seska from Pixel Core, Mehek Kular from Go90 Verizon, and Devon London from Wix.com. Thank you very much for joining.